Hello everyone, today we are going to be seeing how fast Mawile can beat Pokemon Omega Ruby in a solo run challenge. Let's get straight into the video. In the last video, we played through Omega Ruby with Sableye, and it was honestly better than I thought, but we still need to do its Virgin exclusive counterpart. We are going to be playing with Mawile today. But first, why don't we see exactly what we're dealing with. This thing is the Steel Fairy type. It got the Fairy type in Generation 6 when the type was introduced. Before that, it was just a pure Steel type. Its stats though are honestly pretty underwhelming, just like Sableye's. It has 50 HP, 85 attack, 85 defense, 55 in the specials, and 50 speed. And something that surprised me is this thing is in the fast leveling group, while Sableye was in the medium fast group. So levels aren't going to really be much of an issue today. Plus, our moveset is honestly kind of interesting. We start out at level 1 with Taunt, Growl, Fairy Wind, and Astonish. You can see Play Rough and Iron Head at the top. Those are only through the move relearner, so I'll need to get a Heart Scale and go to Fall Arbor Town in order to get those moves. And then throughout level up, we get Fake Tears, Bite, Sweet Scent, Vice Grip, Feint Attack, Baton Pass, Crunch, Iron Defense, Sucker Punch, Stockpile, Swallow, Spit Up, Iron Head, and Play Rough again. And it's a good thing a lot of these moves are physical because that's going to be our better attacking stat. We do get a bit of move coverage through the TMs, but not too many. The main moves that we get are Hidden Power, Ice Beam, Solar Beam, Return, Shadow Ball, Brick Break, Flamethrower, Sludge Bomb, Fire Blast, Rock Tomb, Focus Blast, Charge Beam, Giga Impact, Stone Edge, Swords Dance, Rock Slide, Grass Knot, Flash Cannon, Dark Pulse, and Power Up Punch. So our main setup moves are Swords Dance and Power Up Punch. We can get access to Power Up Punch in Mawile City, and Swords Dance we can get in Lava Ridge City, but that's going to be a while. So with all that out of the way, the early game is pretty much the same through every Omega Ruby solo run I do. It involves just fighting most of the early game trainers, just because of the modern XP curve. You gain less experience the higher leveled you are, so these lower level trainers will give more XP if I fight them now rather than later. Or not at all. And then I eventually get to Rustboro City, I get the HM for Cut, and I get the Quick Claw. My speed stat is not that good, so this will definitely come in handy. So with these items obtained, I equip an Oranberry and take on the first gym leader, Roxanne. She leads off with Geodude, and my main plan is to spam Fairy Wind. Unfortunately, it only does about 30% of its health, and it's going to be a 4-hit, but of course she uses a potion, so it takes a few more than that. Next up is the Nose Pass. I just keep spamming Fairy Wind over and over again. I resist Rock Tomb, and plus once I get to a point where the Nose Pass is moving faster than me, due to how the AI views speed control moves, it will stop using Rock Tomb unless it detects a kill. So she just spams Tackle the rest of the fight. I get to level 13, avoid learning Sweet Scent, and I defeat Roxanne with a time of 10 minutes and 8 seconds. I battle some more trainers leading up to the Rustboro Tunnel, rescue Pico, and then I go set sail to Dewford Town. Of course, in the remakes, you have to fight Brawly before you can enter the cave to talk to Steven Stone. This is so that way you can't just skip Brawly for later like you can in the original games, but I'm not too worried about it. If this was the pure Steel type Mawile from Gen 5 and older, yes, I would be worried because this thing would be weak to fighting, but the Fairy typing makes it neutral, plus Fairy Wind is super effective, so this should be a relatively easy fight. He leads off with his Machop. I use Fairy Wind to deal about 3/4 of its health, and then the second Fairy Wind knocks it out. Now for the Makuhita. I use a Fake Tears turn 1, I activate my Oranberry. The Fake Tears lowers its special defense just enough for Fairy Wind to do the one-shot, and I get the Knuckle Badge. Alright, that was pretty easy. With 2 badges under my belt, I return the letter to Steven Stone, and then I talk to Mr. Briny, and then I set sail to Slateport City. I battle some of the trainers in the surrounding areas first, pick up some hidden items, go to the soda house and fight all the trainers for some free soda pop, and then I can make my way into Slateport Town, and then defeat the Team Magma Grunts attacking Captain Stern, and then I deliver the Devon goods. With all of the errands in Slateport done, I attempt to fight every trainer possible, but unfortunately on the first mandatory trainer with Plusle and Minen, I get paralyzed at an inconvenient time, and I end up having to black out all the way back to Dewford Town. It's a good thing Bryony follows you there on his boat, otherwise I'd be stuck there. This was not a thing in the original games, which ends up being a cause for soft locks, but it's a good thing they fixed it. But it's not a big deal though, I can just take the boat back and then defeat her for real this time, and then I can clear out the trick house and then get the expert belt at the end. This will boost the power of super effective moves by 20%, and it often proves to be a very useful held item, especially in the early game. With the trick house done, I fight some more trainers in the surrounding area, pick up these Lepa berries for later, and now I need to take on Rival 2. This is generally one of the harder rival fights in this game, mainly just because he has 3 pretty decent Pokemon at this point while you're still a low level, but let's see how this goes. Feint Attack only does a quarter, which really concerns me. Fairy Wind really isn't doing any better. I use up my Oran Berry, and I decide to just spam Vice Grip, but not before he uses Whirlpool on me. Next up is the Combusken. I do worry about this fight a lot. Vice Grip only does a quarter, and then I get knocked out in one hit, and I get my first reset. I pretty much realized at this point that the rival was straight up not going to happen at this level, so I go back down to the beach side, and then I fight a lot more trainers, and then I come back to the fight at level 23. Hopefully this makes a difference, and so far it looks like it is. The Wailmer is almost a 2-shot with Vice Grip, and then on the Combusken it does about a third. I survive a Flame Charge, and then for some reason he uses Peck on me, and I'm able to get off another one, but unfortunately he uses another Flame Charge, so I get another reset. You know the reason why he used Peck right after that Flame Charge, even though I resist Peck? It's because when I'm at that low of HP, he detects that any of his moves can knock me out, so he'll choose randomly. That's often why, when you're at full health, the opponent will use a super effective move, and then when you're at low health, it'll just use whatever it wants. I come back to the fight at level 25, get past the Wailmer easily, and the Combusken is a 2-shot with Vice Grip. Now for the Shroomish. It outspeeds and goes for a Stun Spore and then hits me with Leech Seed, and unfortunately the paralysis in the Leech Seed is too much, so I end up getting another reset. Dude, come on, I knew Mawile was going to be bad, but jeez. Fortunately I'm able to win on the next attempt. While I fight the rest of the trainers leading up to Mawile, I realized I forgot to talk about my ability, nature, and my hidden power typing. I have the Adamant nature, which is plus attack minus special attack. Now that I think about it, this may not have been the right choice for a nature, because I still rely on Fairy Wind for some fights, but 95% of the run I'm going to use physical moves, so I'm not really sure what a better nature would have been. Maybe like a minus defense nature? Honestly, that might have been a better choice, but well, too late to fix that now. And Hyper Cutter basically prevents your attack from being lowered, so it basically prevents Intimidate from ever working on the Mighty Hyenas, which there are a lot of in this game. And the reason I have Hidden Power Dark is because whenever you have perfect stats, you always get Hidden Power Dark, and whenever you see myself with Hidden Power Dark, I am effectively never using Hidden Power. I just prefer to have perfect stats. And now that I've entered in Mauville City, I get the Acrobike, and then I fight the trainers to the east. These trainers are actually mandatory anyway later in the game, and since they're mandatory, you may as well fight them at a lower level so you can get more XP from them. And now with those trainers defeated, I go into the Pokemart and then I purchase the TM for Power Up Punch. If you guys haven't seen the Sableye video from a few days prior, there will be some spoilers coming up ahead, but Power Up Punch was one of the saving graces for Sableye because it was one of its only stat boosting moves besides that and Hone Claws. But this thing will get Swords Dance, but not until Lava Ridge Town. But anyway, besides that, Power Up Punch will help a great deal with Watson. So let's go see how he goes. I always enter the fight with a Cherry Berry. The turn 1 power-up punch leaves the Magnemite at 1 HP due to Sturdy, but for some reason instead of using Thunder Wave, he uses Volt Switch, which is kind of interesting, but not really a concern to me. I just keep spamming power-up punch over and over again, and then when he sends out his Magneton, it doesn't have Sturdy, unlike the Magnemite, so I'm able to one-shot it and beat Watson with a time of 39 minutes and 40 seconds. This would have been faster if I didn't get those resets on Rival 2, but hey, it is what it is. Now I have to go north from Mawile and make my way up to Meteor Falls, but when I smash these rocks right here, I find a Geodude. This is the Geodude I catch as my strength user from now on. It's a really convenient spot too, because it seems like you almost always encounter a Geodude in these rocks. It's kind of annoying when I don't want to encounter Geodude, because not even repels block those, but hey, I need a strength user anyway. Also, on my way up to Fall Arbor Town, during this battle right here, I learned Crunch over Feint Attack. Even though I don't get the same type of attack bonus with this move, Crunch will still deal relatively good damage. After I defeat a bunch of trainers, I eventually make my way to Fall Arbor Town, and now I have to go to Meteor Falls to rescue Cosmo, but first I pick up this hidden nugget right here, and then I go to the mart to buy some super repels, and then I go inside the Move Reminder's house. I picked up 2 heart scales along the way here. A bunch of the beaches in this game you can find hidden heart scales relatively easy, so I use 2 of them and I teach my Mawile Play Rough and Iron Head. Play Rough is honestly not the best fairy type move in the game, but for physical attackers it's pretty much the best you're gonna get. I'm just gonna have to deal with this thing's 10% chance to miss. And Iron Head though is 100% accurate with 80 base power, so Iron Head might be my go-to damaging move. I also get the TM for Dig too and teach it to my Zigzagoon for infinite escape ropes. I would teach it to myself, but unfortunately I can't learn Dig, which would honestly help out with Flannery a lot because of my fire weakness. But with nothing eventful really going on, so why don't we just go skip straight ahead to Mount Chimney and go take on the first Maxi battle. He leads off with his Mighty Yenna. Fortunately, Intimidate is blocked by Hypercutter. I use a power-up punch to deal about 2/3 of its damage, and he goes for Roar, which is annoying because I just lost my attack boost, but fortunately as soon as I attack it again with another power-up punch, I get my +1 back, although it could have been +2. I also give up on learning Iron Defense, and next up is the Camerupt. I go for power up punch again, it does less than half. Earth power does so much damage to me, I'm left in red health. The Oran Berry heals me up a bit, and then another power up punch knocks it out, and then I use Iron Head on the Golbat. So yeah, you see why power up punch is quite a useful move if you can learn it. Instances like this. Also, you may have been wondering why not equip the Expert Belt at this point to potentially one-shot the Mighty Yenna. I tend to notice that Oran Berries are way more useful in this game because there are a lot of fights in this run where you end up at low health at the end, so getting an extra 10 HP to work with something with a low HP stat like Mawile actually can help out quite a lot. Now that I've arrived in Lava Ridge City, I go all over the town because I cannot remember who gives the TM for Swords Dance, but it ends up being this black belt just outside of the mart. And I do have a tough time deciding what to teach it over, but in the end I decide to get rid of Power Up Punch. Swords Dance is going to be a way better attack boosting move than Power Up Punch, so why don't we go test out this move on Flannery. She leads off with her Slugma. I start off by using a turn 1 Swords Dance. She uses Overheat to deal most of my damage, but fortunately the Oran Berry heals me. I hit it with Crunch, and then unfortunately its Flame Body ability activates, burning me. So yeah, that's a reset. I've been having a lot of resets to her lately across Sableye and Mawile, mainly because of getting constantly burned. It's really annoying in this fight. I guess in future runs, if I ever use a physical attacker, it may be worth getting a Lumberry or something, but I'm not really sure where to get one. But on this attempt, I make it to the Torque Hole, Crunch doesn't KO it, and then I get hit with a Sun Boosted Overheat and I die. 7 resets into the run, I now realize what I need to do. I could actually teach this thing Rock Tomb, use 1 Swords Dance or 2, and then just sweep her whole team with Rock Tomb. Plus, Rock Tomb does not make contact, so Flame Body cannot activate. And on the first battle of me doing the Rock Tomb strat, I end up defeating her. So yeah, I did make quite a few rookie mistakes in this run, but they overall didn't really cost too much time. And then Brendan gives me the Go Goggles, and then we walk straight back to Petalburg, so let's go fight gym number 5. He leads off with a slacking. I actually taught Power Up Punch over Rock Tomb for this fight, just because I need a super effective move. It outspeeds and goes for Yawn. I go for Power Up Punch doing about a quarter. I unfortunately get put to sleep, and then the idiot used Encore on me, but unfortunately I was spamming Swords Dance, so I was going to be locked into spamming it, but fortunately the Encore doesn't last that long, and then once I wake up, with the combination of multiple Power Up Punch attack boosts and a Swords Dance, his final slacking goes down in one Power Up Punch. And I almost defeat Norman's sub-hour, but I unfortunately barely missed it. Oh well. I do a bunch more errands throughout the whole game here. I go to the little Mirage Island to try and rescue Latios. Unfortunately, Camerupt kills me with Earth Power, and I slowly try to black myself out, but Steven Stone ends up finishing the fight for me and I still win. I'm pretty sure this is still okay. I'm gonna allow it for now because I'm pretty sure you're not required to actually win this fight. I'm pretty sure even if you lose, Steven Stone will just carry the fight for you. So for now, I'm just gonna allow this. I mean, I was purposefully trying to black out, but I didn't expect the Camerupt to crit me with Earth Power. I've been having problems in my Omega Ruby runs lately about these darn Camerupts. Honestly, these Camerupts are way harder to deal with than the Sharpedos. But then again, I haven't played Alpha Sapphire, so I wouldn't know that. And then with the island stuff being done, I grab these citrus berries, just like the orange berries. I'm gonna equip one before most major fights because they will help in a pinch. And then I can fight most of the trainers on this route right here because earlier in the run, I've had problems being underleveled, so I decided it might be a good idea to go do some training. And then I eventually make it to the Weather Institute, and then go to the very top and attempt to take out Tabitha. I try to use a Swords Dance on the Camerupt, but its Earth powers are just doing so much damage. Like, my low special defense is really starting to give me problems right now. After getting my reset counter to 14 resets, I still keep getting absolutely destroyed by this Camerupt, so I decided to do a bit more training, maybe fight some of the trainers I missed, and then I'll just fight some stuff in the wild, and I eventually get to level 40, so I decide to try again. But here's the thing, I get back to the Camerupt, and he just starts spamming Curse, and he never once killed me. He never even hit me. Like, dude, this same thing happened with Sableye, and it just happened with Mawile. This guy, like, most of the time he'll just play like an absolute pro, and then the other time he acts like he's been dropped on his head as a child. But oh well, at least we can move on now. I'm just looking forward to playing some actually good Pokemon in this game. So now with the Weather Institute cleared, there's another rival fight, but just like in the original games, this fight is just a complete joke, and then I can enter Fortree City, and I was about to get Hidden Power, and then I just realized, wait a minute, I'm not using Hidden Power this run. My special attack is horrible. So I just go to Steven Stone, get the Devon Scope, and then I can fight the 6th gym leader, Winona. She leads off with her Swellow. I go for a turn 1 Swords Dance while she stacks up Double Team, and then once I get to +6, I go for Power Up Punch even though it really wasn't necessary. My attack was already boosted. I probably should have just stuck to Iron Head, but oh well. When the Altaria comes out, I use Play Rough to knock it out, and then Iron Head for the Skarmory, and then Iron Head for the Pelipper, and I defeated her whole team in the first try. You know what I'm noticing in these runs? Magma Grunts and Magma Admins tend to be harder than most gym leaders. That's not really a thing in the original games. In the original games, the Magma and Aqua Grunts were just pathetic, but in this game, the Camerupts are going to be terrifying, especially if you're weak to ground or fire. And now with Fortree City behind me, I go down Route 120 and 121, and then I end up to Mount Pyre. I pick up this rare candy right here, and then I can go climb the actual mountain, and then go up to the top where I see Team Magma. I have to fight another admin, in this case Admin Courtney with her own Camerupt. This person gave me a lot of problems in my Sableye video, but hopefully she won't cause issues this time. On the first attempt with her, I use 1 Power Up Punch. Earth Power leaves me at red health, but the Citrus Berry heals me up quite a bit. But unfortunately, the second Iron Head just cannot deal enough damage, and I do get a reset. Not 1 reset, not 2 resets, but 5 resets. And the only reason I won was just like before, the camera up just kept spamming curse instead of actually attacking. Should I just reset to hope for curse luck or something? Like, this is getting ridiculous. I pick up this rare candy before flying down. I fight some Team Magma Grunts right next to Captain Stern, and then he gives me a boat ride to Lily Cove City, and then I can do the whole magma hideout. Before I can do that though, I have to fight the rival in front of the department store. This fight's mandatory in the remix, unlike the originals, but with access to Swords Dance, I completely destroy his entire team. And then before I actually go into the magma hideout, with a Pokemon this week, I need to get some vitamins. And what vitamins shall I get? And today's vitamin of the day is 5 proteins and 3 carbos. I get 3 carbos because I'm at a point where I'm probably going to start being overleveled and outspeeding most opponents. The opponents' teams in the Hoenn games tend to not be that fast, and with 5 proteins, I will hopefully not need as many Swords Dance setups, so I figured these 2 were the correct vitamins. But you could make an argument for the zinc being useful because of all these camera ups, but I decided the attack and speed was probably the better option. With all the vitamins obtained, I go into the magma hideout, go all the way to the end, and just before I can get to the submarine, I have to fight the 5 Team Magma Grunts with Poochyenas. Unfortunately, I don't have a move that can hit all of them, so I just have to spam Iron Head and just hope none of them try to waste my time by using Roar. And it definitely happens at least once though. But another thing that's really annoying is that they also have Sand Attack, but if I do get roared out, at least it gets rid of the Sand Attack, so it's not that big a deal, although the fight does take a while. And now I have to take on Courtney again. Fortunately, her camera up just spams Yawn and Curse on me instead, and then when it actually chooses to attack, it uses Takedown instead of something like Earth Power. Okay, this has happened to be 2 runs in a row now. How come the first Courtney fight on top of Mount Pyre is really hard, yet the one in the magma hideout is pathetic? Like, I just don't understand. There's a lot about this game I don't understand. But now I can surf my way over to Moss Deep City and go take on the 7th gym leaders, Tate and Liza. They lead off with their 2 Pokemon, Lunatone and Solrock. I go for Iron Head on the Solrock, knocking it out in a single hit, and as my Zigzagoon is gaining levels, I'm hoping that the Lunatone will just knock it out instead, which fortunately it does. I just send in Geodude, because it's just not going to do anything, and then I use Iron Head on the Lunatone, which fortunately also gets the one-shot, so yeah, Mawile just one-shot both of their Pokemon. Nice. And now Steven Stone gives me the HM for Dive. I also get the King's Rock from this kid just for fun. I really don't think it's going to be necessary, but you never know. And then I go to the seafloor cavern, get to the very end, and then I have to take on Maxie for the last time. He does use Mega Evolution in this fight, so I need to be careful. He leads off with Mightyena. Hypercutter doesn't block Intimidate. Yeah, for some reason, his Mightyena here no longer has Intimidate. This kind of makes me wonder if he replaced it with a different Mightyena. I mean, he has to have done it. You can't just change abilities like that. Ability patches weren't even invented yet, I think. But it doesn't matter though. I knock out his Mightyena and his Golbat and his Weezing, and then on the camera up, unfortunately I can't one-shot it, but he just wastes his 1 turn with Curse, so I'm still able to beat him first try. And now at this point, Groudon is out messing with the weather. I need to go to Satopolis City and finish him off, but since I have to go to the Sky Tower later on in the run during the Delta episode, what I am now doing first is I fight most of the trainers leading to Pacifidlog Town, and then when I eventually make my way to Pacifidlog, I get it on the fly map, and then I can continue heading west, and I plan to get the rare candy here, and fight a few trainers here while I'm here as well. I try to find the 5 Gyarados guy from the original games, but I have no idea where he is, so I decide to just skip him for now, and then I just continue fighting every other trainer I can see. The reason I'm fighting all these trainers is because I mandate myself in these runs to defeat Primal Groudon, not just catch it, and me being weak to fire and ground, I needed every level possible, plus I plan to use all my rare candies too. I arrive at Primal Groudon at level 57, and then I use the rest of my rare candies to get to level 63. Hopefully this is enough. The one way that Mawile can get an easy time is if he decides to just spam Rest, because he has Rest on his moveset, and since he's a wild Pokemon, he has random AIs, so he can just use whatever he wants, so hopefully I can get lucky. On the first turn, I use Swords Dance, Groudon uses Rest, I use use Iron Head, I don't get a flinch, and then Earthquake one-shots me. Yeah, that's what I figured. On the next attempt, I decided to use a turn 1 Iron Head just to see how much damage it would do, and it does hardly anything. So I think what my overall plan is, I'm going to use a turn 1 Iron Head, hope for it to use Rest, so that way he can stay asleep for around 2 turns. And I fortunately do get that luck at 22 resets in, so yeah, Groudon didn't take too many tries, fortunately. And with Groudon defeated, I can go take on the 8th gym leader, Wallace. This fight is just incredibly pathetic. I could use Swords Dance on the Love Disc to set up my attack, but I just spam Power Up Punch instead, just so that way I can just do damage. I don't really know if spamming Swords Dance would be faster, because I'm raising my attack by 2 instead of 1, but at least Power Up Punch does damage, so honestly I don't even think it matters, cause Wallace is still just a complete joke. And now with Wallace defeated, I can go towards Victory Road, make my way to the very end, and then go fight Wally. I'm level 66 for this fight, which is 20 levels higher than his Altaria. I used 2 Swords Dances and I defeated with Iron Head, and then I Power Up Punch the Magneton, it activates Sturdy, and then I use another Power Up Punch, so now my attack is at +6. I use Iron Head on the Roselia, Power Up Punch on the Delcatty, and then on the Gallade, I switch over to Iron Head. Fortunately, I outspeed it, and then Iron Head just one-shots it. Now it's time for the Pokemon League, but first I have to go around the region to get all the rare candies I haven't gotten yet. The first rare candy is on Route 108 by this star piece right here. The next one is in Petalburg City. The next one is on Route 114 just up this waterfall. The next one is on Route 119 after I go through this little obstacle course on the Acrobike. And that's all the rare candies I missed, so let's go take on the final 5 trainers. Let's do this shit. The first Elite Four member is Sydney. His lead Mightyena has Intimidate, but Hyper Cutter blocks it. I use Swords Dance, and then he hits me with Swagger, and then I hit myself dealing over half of my health, and then I hit myself again, so yeah, there's my first reset. On the next attempt though, that doesn't happen, and then once I set up, I can just completely sweep his whole team with Power Up Punch. The next Elite Four member is Phoebe. She leads off with a Dusclops, which does know the move Curse, and I don't know where the substitute TM is in order to block it. So my main plan is I need to get 1 Swords Dance and just reset if I get hit with Curse, which takes a few resets to happen, but I do have a Person Berry equipped in case she uses a turn 1 Confuse Ray instead, which I would honestly prefer. But once I actually get past the Dusclops, her whole team is a joke. Next up is the Elite Four member Glacia. I do have the Expert Belt equipped for this fight because I plan to use Swords Dance first turn and then just sweep with either Power Up Punch or Iron Head. I just use Power Up Punch just for extra attack boosts, but Iron Head may be the better choice, but then again I'm not sure because Hercelio and Walrein only take neutral damage from Iron Head because they're part water, but I do use Iron Head on the Frostlass because they're part ghost. And then eventually I take out her entire team. Next up is the Elite Four member Drake. All I will say is, having Swords Dance plus Play Rough, it just completely makes good work of his whole team. I mean, I do use Iron Head for a few Pokemon, but that's mainly because of the higher accuracy. I mean, I do switch to Play Rough for the Kingdra, because I'm pretty sure Iron Head would not have one-shot it. Same thing with the Salamence too, but unfortunately it outspeeds me, gets a flinch, but fortunately he doesn't do anything more than that. Now, all we've got left is the champion, Steven Stone. Normally, I would have a Pecha Berry equipped for this fight in case the Skarmory uses Toxic, but I just keep the Expert Belt equipped instead. I don't have to worry about poison because I'm a Steel type. So on the Skarmory, I just use a Swords Dance, he uses Spikes, another Swords Dance, he uses Steel Wing, and then I try to use Iron Head, but it unfortunately leaves it at red health, so I probably should have used another one, but oh well. Next up is the Aggron. I go for Power Up Punch, it leaves it in red health, and then I just knock it out with an Iron Head. Then on the Claydol, Iron Head one-shots it, along with the Armaldo and the Cradily. And then last up is his Metagross. He Mega Evolves it. I go for Power Up Punch thinking it would do the most damage. It leaves it at red health, and then it fortunately missed Meteor Mash, but unfortunately after the full restore, he hits me with Meteor Mash outspeeding me, and I get a reset. On the next attempt, I taught Brick Break over Power Up Punch. I got this TM in Setopolis. I meant to teach it for this fight, but I forgot. But with Brick Break, it should be able to one-shot the Metagross, and it doesn't. That's not good. On the next attempt though, fortunately I get lucky and Brick Break actually one-shots the Mega Metagross with a +6 in my attack from Swords Dance, and Steven Stone is defeated with a real time of 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 20 seconds, with 28 resets at level 75. This has not been a good run so far, but we're not done yet. My Omega Ruby runs do not end until I finish the Delta episode when I defeat Zinnia. Of course, there's a whole lot of other things I have to do, like the rival fight and the credits, but you're not required to win it, but I end up losing anyway. I mean, I still try to win, but I ended up losing. Oh well. Nothing eventful really happens, although when I get to the point of having to defeat a bunch of Magma Grunts outside of the Devon Corporation, this one guy's wheezing spams Destiny Bond like crazy, so I just stall my Swords Dances on it until I can knock it out because I do get a reset on it from it actually successfully using Destiny Bond. Fortunately, nothing else notable happens. I make it all the way to the Wallace fight right in front of the Sky Pillar. I don't know if it's Sky Pillar or Sky Tower, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. The Whale Lord freezes me and I get a reset on him, but fortunately on the next attempt I'm able to completely sweep his whole team, and then I can climb to the very top of the Sky Pillar and take on the Lore Keeper, Zinnia, and end this run. Since the game requires me to have Rayquaza in the first slot of my party because of how the story's supposed to work out, what I have to do is I have to switch to a Zigzagoon or something like that, have it get defeated by the Goodra, and then I can switch in my Mawile and do the whole battle with it. I am level 78 for this fight as well. I use one Swords Dance, Goodra uses Thunderbolt, fortunately not paralyzing me, and I decide +2 should be enough. Her whole team consists of Dragon types, so I'm just hoping a +2 Play Rough should be able to one-shot everything. It defeats her Tyrantrum, her Altaria, her Noivern, and last up is her Salamence. It will Mega Evolve of course, but since Intimidate is blocked, I still have +2 in my attack. It does outspeed and hit me with Fire Fang, but I fortunately do live, and the Mega Salamence goes down in one hit, and Mawile has beaten the game with a time of 2 hours, 41 minutes, and 46 seconds, with 30 resets at level 79, with a game time of 7 hours and 40 minutes. Surprisingly, even though I've done only one playthrough with this thing compared to Sableye, which needed 2, mainly because I needed to de-rust from the game, this thing played very similarly to Sableye, although I got 8 more resets, and I finished the game at 8 more levels higher, mainly because Mawile's in the fast leveling group compared to Sableye's medium fast, so it was able to level up quite a lot faster. But honestly, these two Pokemon struggled at similar spots. They both had problems with Flannery. A lot of Magma Grunts were constantly knocking me out with Earth Power from their camera-ups, and just in general, there were a lot of fights that just gave random resets. But then again, what did I expect? These two Pokemon are kind of horrible, although they do both get Mega Evolutions, but I don't plan to play with solo Mega Evolved Pokemon, at least for now, because I don't know, part of me just doesn't think that feels right. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed the playthrough. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more, and be sure to follow my socials or support me through YouTube membership. memberships. All YouTube members will have access to every patch file used for our backport streams. So if you wanted to, let's say, play Pokemon Blue with Incineroar, or maybe Pokemon Crystal with Glaceon, not sure why you'd want to play that thing in Crystal, but become a YouTube member and you'll have access to all of them. And yeah, that's it for Omega Ruby this week. Next week, the 2 videos will be in Pokemon Leaf Green. We'll be playing with both Scyther and Pinsir. Those 2 are going to be very interesting runs. You'll see. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.